in the United States, one of the big names in Magic, and let's see how he drafts. He's had some real doozies here today.
He's a bit of an unorthodox drafter, so the picks could be interesting.
How about we get orthodox real quick here, though, and just take a Siege Rhino? What do you think?
I don't think this will be an unorthodox pick.
If he takes anything but the Siege Rhino, that would be very unorthodox. There's usually a threshold for most people about what they'll do to go into a three-color card like this, and Siege Rhino is well above that threshold.
Oh, Siege Rhino is incredible.
Yeah. There we go. Sam Black takes the Siege Rhino. Now, this is interesting, though, Ben, because a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on what they're passing, and if you were one of those people, you would do that here because he's passing an Obs on Guide and Debilitating Injury, but Sam knows better. It's better just take the best card here and not worry so much about what you're passing.
Because you never know what the other guy's opened and what they're going to take. I worry a lot more about what I'm receiving than what I'm passing.
Right. So let's see what Sam's receiving here. High Spire Mantis. Oh, wow, an Obzon Charm next, and he moves that directly to the front.
Sure.
Easy pickup for him here.
Sure, I mean, it's a pretty easy pick. There's not really a close pick with it in this pack. Obviously, he doesn't know what his mana's going to end up like. So if there was like a debilitating injury, that might be a close pick. I'd still probably take the Obzon Charm because we already first picked the Siege Rhino and we can just take lands aggressively. But that would be maybe a close pick. But what else would he take here? The best card in the pack, other than that, that's one color for him would be Disowned Ancestor, and that's a card I like a lot, but it's not close to Obzon Charm.
Right, and it's just not a card you need to pick this early. You can get some Disowned Ancestors at some point during the draft if you want them. Now, how do you feel, though, if you're in Sam's seat? You've got two really, really powerful cards, but do you feel a little bit nervous about the level of commitment that you've put forth here?
Because you don't know what you're going to see.
Right.
He may not see any more Obzon cards or lands. So, you're very nervous if you're in Sam's seat.
The potential is really high.
Right. You have the potential to draft a 10 right now if you just keep seeing Obzon. But if you don't, I mean, you may have to move off them and lose your picks. They're not flexible cards.
So it looks like Sam's kind of hemming and hawing, and he's actually going to go with Abomination. Is this a hedge?
Yeah, I like that pick because Smoke Teller is just not a card you really care about at all. So just in case he does have to go into Sultai, and Sultai could splash white, he could play a 4-color non-red deck, This is a format with a lot of lands, a lot of possibilities.
Looks like things are going to work out okay. He picks up an Obzon Guide here, which is a pretty high pick for the Obzon player, and it's probably the best of that morph cycle. And he's going to be happy to pick it up.
Because the whole cycle's good.
They're all very good.
Obzon Guide probably is the best one, but that's saying something.
Yeah, it sure is. Now, there's a Death Frenzy that he's passing here, too, but no problem.
So, I mean, that's a clear pick. So, I mean, now he's got 3 Obzon cards, and he's got the 1 Sultai card.
So, are his hopes getting pretty high here? A 4th pick Obzon Guide's not too bad coming from the right there. All right, an Archer's Parapet looks like what he wants here.
Yeah, and that'll be a pretty easy pick. Not because Archer's Parapet is great, but because there's no other playables in this whole pack.
Right.
Not even really of other colors. What's the next best card in this pack? Wetland Sandbar?
Sandbar?
5 seconds.
Ugh. Yeah, that pack is bad. Wow.
Don't get me wrong, Parapet is okay.
Yeah, I like Parapet.
Yeah, it's not great, it's okay, but it's just a lot better than the next best card in that pack, and it's the color Sam's trying to play.
Right.
Should be 9 cards.
Yeah, he sure doesn't have to worry about sending any weird signals with that one. Here's a Teamer Charm. Oh, interesting here.
This shouldn't be that close. He should just snap, take this land. Oh, yeah,
for sure.
He doesn't need the Krumar Bondkin. He's got tons of power, but all of his cards so far are green, black, white to cast.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's going to start checking those off. He's going to want 3, 4, maybe even 5 of those lands if he can get them.
Any dual lands or tri-lands he can get his hands on, he's going to be taking very aggressively this draft.
Should be 8 cards. You have 20 seconds.
Of course, these 2 lands don't help him.
They do not.
So this should be Bitter Revelation.
Yeah, I like Bitter Revelation in a deck like this, especially just with the way that his like he's got the Archer's Parapet. That's the kind of card I want with Bitter Revelation.
Yep. And those lands both have red in them, so they can't even help him splash the Abomination Good Duel if he does end up with a 4-color deck or something. So, I mean, he has no interest in the red lands.
Right. Well, this has gone pretty well so far, but we're still early here, yeah.
He's loving life.
Oh, you see him look at that land, he's like, is this the one I need? No. So what do you like here? He can pick up a Sagu Archer, maybe a Become Immense. I don't know about the second Bitter Revelation, like 2's about the limit. I usually try to play 1.
Right. I agree. I think you can play 2, but I think the second's a lot worse than the first. Become Immense is great in aggro decks. Obviously, his deck's not aggressive, but you could board it in or something if you're going to be on the play, if you're going to have an aggressive role in the matchup. So, I mean, there wasn't really much there for him.
Yeah, not much here either.
No, but I mean, we're late in the pack now.
Yeah.
I don't hate the Bitter Revelation, the pick there. I wouldn't hate him for taking Become Immense or whatever other card was there. Really nothing exciting for him.
All right, well, he gets a CDC's pet here, which is, yeah, fine, whatever.
Sagu Archer actually might have been okay. I mean, his guys are all on the ground, and his deck is defensive.
Yeah.
But Sagu Archer's pretty underwhelming.
It's mediocre, but it does fill a role. Oop, easy there, Sam.
5 seconds.
And looks like he's going to scout some borders here.
Yeah.
Probably won't end up playing it, but it's not impossible.
Yeah. With 2 Bitter Revelations, it's nigh
Oh, yeah,
impossible.
yeah, then it's basically impossible.
But, you do never know, and he certainly isn't worried about hating whatever was in that pack, a Trumpet Blast or something.
Draw. Pick up 2 cards. You have 5 seconds.
Pack 1 I'll almost never hate because I almost want to solidify them in their color. It's a color I'm not playing. Pack 3, if there's nothing for me in a Trumpet Blast, I might take something like the Trumpet Blast. But Pack 1, if they could be on the fence about going into red or green and they get that Trumpet Blast and it's another red card or whatever.
Right.
And that could be the difference between me seeing green in Pack 2 or not.
And that's going to be a big difference. That pack went really well for Sam overall, though. We'll note the number of mana fixing options he has. Currently 1. He took the only real one he had an option for. He's going to need to pick up a few more of these to make it work, but that was a great start.
Oh, he's loving life. Look at these cards.
Look at that, it's insane.
Yeah.
Siege Rhino, Obzon Charm, Obzon Guide, I'm in.
Yeah, the only thing he's light on right now is mana. He's got 1, so it's not a huge problem.
No.
But he would like to pick up about 2 per pack, not 1 per pack. As you said, trying to finish with around 5 of them or something.
Right.
Just a reminder, we're going to pack B.
So this pack's going to be interesting. This is really going to, kind of make or break him in many ways, putting him in the mode to know what he needs in the last pack.
Yeah.
Let's see what he gets here. We've also got a camera on Neil Oliver, by the way. We'll get a chance to watch his draft after this one.
That'll be cool.
Nothing. Incremental growth.
Ooh, nothing the whole way, basically.
Yeah, just basically incremental growth, right?
Maybe the Thorwind falls if he wants to splash that Abomination Ghoul.
Okay.
Sagu Archer, Right of the Serpent.
Yeah.
There's. I wouldn't take incremental growth.
You wouldn't?
No, his guys don't need to be bigger.
Sure.
I think he's Archer's Parapet. I think he's like a control-ish deck. I don't think he needs to pump his guys.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tough pick. I think I would consider Sagu Archer, Thorwind Falls, Right of the Serpent. I guess Dragon Scale Boon is certainly playable also, though.
It's playable, but it just doesn't seem like the kind
Doesn't
of
fit his
thing he
theme,
wants.
right?
Yeah.
Bitter Revelation, Dragon Scale Boon, not generally the best in the same decks.
Right.
But, Dragon Scale Boon is good with Outlast. He has Abzan. It is good with Abzan Guide. So, I mean,
Speaking of Obzon Guide, wow, and Bellowing Saddle Brew?
Yeah, but, now this is going to be close.
This is an interesting one. So is this between Guide and Wild?
So
what do you like here?
I think this is between all the cards except Bellowing Saddle Brute. It's a great aggressive card. You still play it in your more defensive decks, but it's not that exciting. With his deck already having so much power and being so slow, I like that he moved that Air of the Wilds to the top. That's my pick here, I think. I wouldn't fault him for taking Obzon Guide. I mean, it's a marquee card for the stack.
Right.
But I think Sam's mostly interested in having something meaningful to do on turn 2. And also, it's only single green to cast. So if Wally's finding his mana, if he's stuck on 2 colors or stuck on 3 lands for a turn or 2 lands for a turn, he has something meaningful to do.
I just think Death Touch is so strong in this format.
It
When they
is.
attack with that morph with 5 mana, you can just be like, no problem.
Yeah. Air of the Wilds is a great card.
It's just a great card in general, yeah.
I think when a lot of people see cards in Limited, they see bigger as better, and they don't really adjust for casting cost well.
Right.
I mean, that card is just great.
It is. It's all upside.
Yeah, it's so cheap. You
It
pay
even
so little,
attacks
you
for
get so
3
much.
sometimes, too. It's just insane.
You get so much for so little mana out of that card.
All right, so he took the Feat of Resistance there.
This was a weak pack, right?
Yeah, this has not been great for him yet. Feat's fine. I mean, we've all come around on how good Feat is, but again, it's just not really what Sam wants to be doing, right?
Kind of unlucky for Sam that there was a bunch of good cards for his deck in the second pack he saw, and virtually none in the first or third.
Right.
So packs aren't really breaking well for him so far.
There's a Surok, another Feat, a Mandrills.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be a pretty clear Mandrills for him.
I think so, too.
He's got the 2 Bitter Revelations,
Right.
and I don't see how he could possibly splash Surok.
Right.
So, I mean, he already has a feat. His deck doesn't want to have a ton of feats. I don't know. 2 Bitter Revelations already. I don't think this is a close pick. in this spot.
Yeah, I like Mandrills there too. It looks like Sam was on it as well.
Draw.
All right, so that's a nice pickup for his deck, a solid creature.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a haymaker, but
No, that's of no real importance to
never
him.
getting cut.
Right, exactly. It's like no real importance to him, but it's a fine card.
All right, so he finds a Merrick Nightblade. Where are you on Nightblade?
I like it. I don't love it.
Yeah, it's fine, right?
It's fine. He's certainly going to take it. If he took this Dragon Scale boon over it, I would be shocked. I don't get it. But like the Nightblade is not amazing or anything.
5
Right.
seconds.
All right, so Sam's kind of moving forward. He's picking up playables, but not really hitting any home runs here.
No, this pack has not gone that well for him. And he hasn't gotten a land yet, has he?
No.
So, I mean, this is not really what he was hoping for out of this pack.
No, he's seen a bunch of dual lands, but none of them in his colors.
Yeah,
It's a
they're
little
just all red or
concerning.
blue.
Yeah. And this pack isn't great either. It looks like he's going to pick up a Highland game.
And I like that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Even if you don't start it, there is the aggro deck when you need to board it in against them or something
Sure.
like that.
Draw.
Could he play the Krumar? I guess he has too many
No.
4-drops at this point.
Yeah, he's got 2 Bitter Revelation, the Nightblade. He's got things to do.
Yeah.
At that point in the game. The Highland game, I think, offers this deck a little more, and even though you don't say that often.
Yeah. All right, here's an interesting one. More 4-drops for him. There's a long shot squad and a Smite the Monstrous.
This is a close pick,
Pudding
but
Mandrills.
I take the Jungle Hollow.
Me too. I think he was an almost visible sigh of relief when he saw that Jungle Hollow. I mean, this has got to be what? That was his 6th or 7th pick out of this pack.
Right,
Like,
and
he's
the
running
first
out of
land he's
chances.
got, he's got to
so-
get these lands. I mean, I like the second Hooting Mandrills. I mean, he's got double Bitter Revelation. You know, Hooting Mandrills is a good card.
Yeah.
But right here, right now, Jungle Hollow, a clear pick for Sam.
And back to nothing here.
I really like how Sam's drafted this draft.
Yeah, me too.
5 seconds.
And remember, he's still got a whole other pack to go, too, to really fill in the holes here.
I'm not sure that I really disagree with a single pick yet. I mean, it hasn't been the hardest draft in the world. They did first pick Siege Rhino and then see a bunch of Abzin cards. But yeah, I really like what he's done, pick by pick.
Yeah, there's a couple directions he could have gone, but incremental growth came back. Same with Villainous Wealth.
And Rite of the Serpent.
He'll take the growth now.
I guess if you get enough Outlast synergy, maybe you then play that card.
Yeah, he's got the Nightblade. He could pick up a Falconer or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's slow and his deck is not fast already. So, I mean, I would be interested in maybe if you got an Abzin Battle Priest, maybe then you could start to think about the incremental growth.
Hey, there's a Dissonance.
This you should be really happy about.
That's great.
Yeah. This should not be a close pick. I don't know if he's just sorting them for fun. If he doesn't see himself as possibly black-based, but like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I've got to believe that he sees himself as green-white-based because of the feet or something. But Disown Ancestor is a good card,
That's
and
a
Highland
good
Game is
card.
really not. I don't like that pick. That's the first time this draft I would say Sam's led us astray.
Yeah,
I don't
now
really get
he
that
got the
pick.
Sagu Archer back, but decided to take the Become Immense. Remember, he's got the double Bitter Revelation, so he should be able to get that off fairly cheaply.
Yeah, and he's got the Abzin guides too, so if you can +6/+6 one of those, that's a huge swing.
That's massive.
I like that pick. The Disown Ancestor, though, I'm really missing. That's a great card.
Yeah, I'm getting a little concerned for the flying. Like, he can't really do much about flyers currently.
It's funny because I agree with you, but as you just said that, he picked up a Windstorm.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I didn't see it. So sideboard plans. All right, so he's kind of scraping by on the minimum on that pack as far as picking up one land. Some really not that impressive stuff overall. You know, I can't quite tell, but it does feel like maybe somebody on his left is in Abzan. Maybe took that guide that he passed early. But that's not bad news for this last pack, where it's going to be fresh cards coming around.
He's very heavy green. Not that much black or white, so his mana should be functional. He's got 2 duels. You know, he does want to prioritize those dual lands, and he does want meaningful early game cards if he can get them. I think maybe he just figures his deck is so powerful that he'll just play the Highland games. And I mean, Disown Ancestor isn't the best, when you're 3 colors, when your lands come to play tap, but, it's still a good blocker.
It's still a good blocker.
Please return your cards to a
Yeah.
single face-down.
So what are the number one priorities for Sam going into this last pack?
I would say lands.
Mana fixing.
Yeah, he's got a great power level already. So I think that, the happiest thing he could see outside of like a second Siege Rhino or something absurd would be a Sandstep Citadel.
What if you opened Abzan Charm and a Sandstep Citadel?
Yeah, I'd have no problem taking a Sandstep Citadel over an
Okay,
Abzan Charm right
you're
now.
really pushing
Yeah.
for lands at this
I mean,
point.
not over a Siege Rhino or something
Sure.
like that, or like a Dune Blast. But,
Wow.
But over an Abzan Charm, I'm okay with it.
Wow, a lot of really good options for him here. He's got a dead drop. There's also a Chief of the Edge, a Chief of the Scale.
Yeah, his deck's not aggressive. This is going to be a clear dead drop.
Yeah, slam dead drop.
With double Bitter Revelation and, a control-ish deck, I mean, dead drop here is fantastic.
Yeah, he could even get something back. There's a Watcher of the Roost and a Woolly Loxodon in this pack, too. So lots of good options for Sam there to maybe wheel something playable. But dead drop's nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Double Bitter Revelation dead drop with a bunch of blockers.
He's definitely happy to see a dead drop. With Double Bitter Revelation, Archer's Parapet, Highland Games, Highland Game and dead drop actually go pretty well together.
Yeah, because they die a lot.
Right, and you can either trade off with their little guy, allowing you to dead drop their big guys, gain some life for some time, put a card in your yard for dead drop, or even if you're just chump blocking, you're gaining life and putting a card in your yard for dead drop. Lotus Petal's a pretty bad limiting card, but when it's helping you cast dead drop, it's, palatable.
Lotus Petal gain 2 life.
Yeah. That's a good one.
He picks up a Ruthless Ripper here out of this pack, so that's going to be nice for Sam.
Yeah, that's a good one for Sam. That's a card he was really hoping to see. It's, effective in the late game. It's a 1-drop, a card he can play.
I'm a big fan of that card.
Me too.
Very often I end up just playing it for 1 on turn 1.
Sure, if you have a morph for 3, I think you almost always play it on 1.
Yeah. So the ground game further gummed up by Sam Black here with that pick. Just keeps moving in that direction. It doesn't feel like anybody's going to be able to get through him on the ground.
And it's going to be hard for them to go over the top of him.
Yep.
Siege Rhino, double Abzan Guide, double Bitter Revelation.
Right. Okay, there's a Blossoming Sands. He pulls it immediately to the front.
Yeah.
You can sense the urgency from Sam here, and he wastes no time at all. I mean, he had a Sultai Scavenger. There were some cards, a long shot squad. He didn't even look. He's just like slamming.
Sam and me are clearly eye to eye on this. There's other drafters maybe who prioritize the fixing a little lower when they have decks like this, like
Shahar
Shanhar.
Yeah.
I mean, Shahar.
I watched Shahar draft too.
Right, we were disagreeing a little bit on, when I was watching his draft earlier about, land here or spell here, land. But like Sam seems to just be, yes, a land for me. Which is exactly what I'd be thinking. At this point, my cards are this great, I just want to cast them.
Yes.
Pick up 11 cards, 25 seconds.
Okay. And more of the same.
And there's an Abzan Guide.
There's another Abzan Guide. Hello, friend.
Yeah.
Wow, nice pickup here for Sam Black. Jeez, that's great.
Yeah, and this is an easy pick. His deck is not an aggressive deck. Chief of the Edge is fine. He doesn't care about it. Abzan Guide is just great.
That would be his 3rd, right?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Wow, this is getting good for Sam Black. Are we going to see him win a GP here today with an Abzan deck? It's certainly possible. This is a deck that could 3-0.
There's 2 important steps here in winning this Grand Prix. Draft a deck like this, draw well.
Yes.
I mean, he still has to cast his cards, he still has to not get flooded,
Finds a fairly late Savage Punch here.
Also, I'm not going to just crown him yet because there's been a lot of good cards that he's passed as well.
Totally.
So, I mean,
there's a Warriors deck out there.
Right. I love Sam's deck, but there's going to be a couple other good decks at this table also.
And you know that there's been a few banners floating around, so Neil Oliver will be happy.
Yeah.
And there was a Villainous Wealth going around the table, too.
Probably a pretty high card quality draft overall. At least on this side of the table. Obviously, I don't really know what the people on the far side of the table are seeing.
20 seconds.
All right, there was a dispute.
Oh, my.
Wow, his 4th one?
And he
Did you see that flourish with his hand? He's like, well, hell, I'll take it.
Yeah, and he doesn't tease us this time by shuffling some card that's not even close.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, that's a guide.
Yeah.
Right in the deck.
Wow, 4 guides.
I love Abzan Guide.
I do, too.
I mean, it might be worth mentioning that there's, diminishing returns and having a lot of the same morph, because your opponents can start playing as though your morph is Abzan Guide, let's say. But that guy's so good, you're happily going to play all of them.
Totally. All right, there's a late Soothsayer, I believe, but not much for Sam here. Probably that student's unlikely to make the main deck.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
There was a banner.
Was there a banner?
An Abzan banner, yeah.
Are we to that point? He's at 3 lands now, right?
Yeah, I mean...
1 per pack he got?
Yeah, I don't know.
And he's not getting any now.
Right, and I mean, he can use the mana. I would have considered it. I don't like the banners, but I would have definitely considered it there.
Yeah, there's a threshold, for most people. Is this true for you too as well, where like your card quality gets so high that your concern just shifts firmly into just resolving cards? People play 19 lands. They're just like, look, if I get to cast these spells, I'll win.
Yeah, and I mean, Sam has...
Is Sam at that point?
I think so. Sam has Dead Drop, Double Bitter Revelation, 4 Obzin guys, Siege Rhino, Obzin Charm.
6 cards.
Like, I'm pretty sure.
This is a blockbuster lineup you've
Right.
just
I'm pretty sure
recited.
Sam is not worried that they're going to have better cards in him.
Right.
I think he just mostly wants to make his land drops, have green, black, and white when he wants it right away.
So does that make you
Pocket
more
run
likely
over.
to play a banner?
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me more likely to play one. I don't really like it, but it's not the end of the world to play one banner if you came up a little short on lands and not short at all on expensive, powerful cards.
Yeah, I mean, it says a lot about how far these cards have come in limited as well. I mean, the banners are good. They ramp you, they fix your mana, and they even give you a card back when they've outlasted their usefulness. Like just reading a card, it's like, well, this seems like a great utility card, and they just don't have room.
Yeah, it's what I'm always talking about these days. How in the old school Unlimited, how cards perform in stalemates and stuff is how like people judge them. Nowadays, there's just a high level of pressure on you during limited games.
Yeah.
So you can't pay 3 mana and not impact the board.
Right.
Divination hasn't been good in most limited formats. Banners just aren't good in general because you're not impacting the game. You're not impacting the board.
Right. All right, that's going to do it for Sam Black, and we're going to leave him to build that masterpiece. Hopefully, it's good. I mean, he's got really solid tools to work with.
It looks great.
Everything looked like it was going to be in place for Sam Black, so we'll see what he comes up with as